What is the dumbest thing you believed as a kid? That I was intelligent. Apes together strong. To be fair, my teachers should have seen this coming a long time ago. At this point it's on them for not realizing how stupid I am. They probably would have saved a bunch of money and resources if they just put me to work after like the 8th grade. As the great Charlie Kelly once said, "You stupid science bitches couldn't even make I more smarter." Apostrophe. When I was a boy I was outside and not dressed for the cold. My mother said come inside or you'll catch pneumonia. But I thought she said come inside or pneumonia will catch you. And a swirl of leaves came up the driveway towards me. For years I thought pneumonia was some creature that looked like a swirl of leaves that would attack you. This is an amazing answer 10/10. An unbelievable story for sure. Thanks Dad. That tiny cops lived in traffic lights and they directed traffic. Wait, same, but they weren't cops. I imagined them to be similar perhaps to Keebler elves. The watermelon seed. I know you know what I'm talking about. My brothers convinced me to eat dirt and drink water with watermelon seeds. Lightning could see you and choose to strike you. Duck this person in particular. Apostrophe. You sir are the very reason I love this app. When I was like 4 or 5, I thought English was just a normal language. I guess since it was the only one that I could understand. At one point, I got into a fight with my mom over the fact that it just had to be normal language and definitely couldn't be something called English. The fight ended with me crying and running away. I remember asking my mom, why is native language the only normal language? Like why do other countries have weird languages and how do those people understand them? That the world revolved around me and everyone else was a side character. I used to believe that whenever I would leave a room everyone would deactivate. The solipsist kid. That I could grow up and be happy. That I could grow up and be happy. That I could grow up. That I could. That I was a bad kid and deserved the punishment / abuse. Took years to realize no precise and how the world works and is wrong. I remember working at Wendy's, my first job. My till was off. I was physically shaking scared. My manager said don't worry about it, accidents happen. I was in complete disbelief. I get it, and it's still scary over 23 years later. My mom used to tell me and my siblings that the car wouldn't start until everyone had their seat belts buckled. I believed that until I was 9 or 10. I said this to my kids when they were growing up. One kid thought he was sneaky and unbuckled on the way down the driveway. I shut off the car and yelled who unbuckled while it rolled to a stop. No one unbuckled again. That you could not open the fridge while getting water because the inside fills up and drains through the hole that the water come from. That Kentucky was a town in Ohio. I live in an Ohio town and the locals call my neighborhood Little Kentucky, so you aren't completely wrong. I live in Indiana. The Kroger on the south, rural side of town is called Kentucky, not its actual name, but a lot of people call it that. I've also heard people say down Kentucky way when they just mean south, not necessarily in Kentucky. Never considered that Ohioans would reference Kentucky in the same way, but it makes sense. How great life would be when I was an adult. Don't get me wrong. My life is pretty decent. It's just some days I miss playing on the jungle gym with my butt till the street lights came on. Blissfully ignorant to the real world. My friend told me when he pooped blood came out as well and said he was on his period. I believed him. I remember my first time after a dinner involving lots of beets. Almost had a heart attack. That human babies didn't have legs when they were born and had to grow them. Just like frogs. I was a little stupid. Just a tad bit. That pun was quite rebiting. Tooth fairy. Hands down. When you start thinking about it, the tooth fairy is terrifying. Some lady who goes around collecting teeth. WTF does she want with all those teeth? What is she doing with them? This is how imagine elephants feel. That women put their children and the world through the anus. That's why my mom always referred to me and my brother as little shits. And my brother thought his name was Dammit. It really kills me that Bill Cosby was such a good clean comedian knowing what we know now. He was the only comic who consistently avoided more adult themes or swearing that always made me belly laugh. Oh well, also know that I'm Jesus Christ. That I was special. You are special. I know this might get brigades, but the truth is, few people are special. You'll most likely be born to a middle class family and eventually drone your whole life doing mundane tasks over and over. Lol. It's not circumstances that make people not special. It's what's inside them. Their thoughtless beliefs and actions that make them the drones they are. Gum staying in my stomach for 7 years. So of course I swallowed as much as I could to stock up. Wait. That's not true. I can do anything I want when I grow up, and that if something happened and I couldn't do something, it wouldn't be because I was just plain too stupid to wrap my head around it. The world is so different from those books. I used to believe that teachers lived in the school, in coffins, in the basement. God, I wish I could save so much time on my commute. I used to believe that cats are girls and dogs are boys. I still do. I know there's a difference, but if I see a cat I'll assume female and I'll assume male with a dog. My dad told me that your belly button was a knot that was tied after cutting the umbilical cord. I ducking believed that until my first was born. I asked the ob when they were going to take off the clamp and tie the knot. He looked at me like I was the dumbest person in the world. I was 29. In very simplistic terms, it kind of is. Just not a literal knot. But if you had to explain it to a kid. Yeah, I'm sure that wasn't something he expected me to retain into adulthood. Sex was when a mom and dad looked at each other in their underwear. In my experience, that prevents sex more than it initiates it. I'm not spending money on a perfectly usable pair of underwear. My older cousins once told me that ketchup was made of blood, and it made me afraid of it for years. So much so that the same cousins then tried convincing me it wasn't made of blood. One of them offered me $20 to eat a pea-sized drop of it, but I didn't take the bait. I'm on to you. Vampires. Funny story semi-related to something like that. I was walking in this grass outside my grandma's house and managed to break my skin and draw blood. I had recently eaten a hot dog and thought, ooh, more ketchup, and drank it up, and the ketchup never stopped. Luckily, the adult stopped and bandaged up the wound before I killed myself. But if you were drinking the ketchup as fast as it was appearing, then there would have been no problem. Right? /s obv. You up. So basically in Portugal there was an ad for a shampoo where basically the guy that used it got surrounded by girls which were all attracted to him. I asked my mom to buy it, she did. The next day after using it, I got so confused I was thinking, why didn't that work? This may be my favorite one. I was born when my parents prayed to God and God blessed them with me. Also, to have a child, one needs to get married and God needs to answer the couple's prayers. But the factor is that had smokestacks with white smoke coming from them were clouds. I ducking thought that clouds came from factories. I did too. That the government serves the people. That only my mom's side of the family were my real relatives, because that's where I came from. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.